Welcome to our very first episode of the Taranaki Health Journeys podcast. I'm Anthony Dunn, and today with me I have my wife Sarah Johnston Dunn. We not long got over her battle with breast cancer. We're coming to the other end of it, but I'd love to have her share her thoughts on what happened and what it's been like for her. So welcome along, Sarah. Could you please give us a rundown or run through on how you initially discovered the breast cancer and what type of breast cancer you had?
So I discovered a lump in my left breast when I was having a shower. It was around November 2023. We had tests done and it was discovered that I had HER2 positive breast cancer. They approximated it to be about a 2 centimetre tumour. They biopsied and placed a metal tag in the tumour, and I then had further scans and started chemotherapy in 2024.
So after the diagnosis, what were your thoughts when you were first told that you had breast cancer?
I was in shock to begin with. It was a very scary initial experience, not knowing what to expect or what was going to happen. It didn't help that the diagnosis was laid upon us 5 days before Christmas, and with all the public holidays and everything, the waiting, it was only, I think, about 2.5 weeks, but it felt like 2 years. It just seemed to take forever. Even when I had my first initial appointment with an oncologist, I hadn't even had any MRI scans or anything, so it was very unnerving, not knowing what was going to happen and just feeling like I was being thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. So, can you tell anyone listening or watching how the treatments went, where you had to go, things like that?
So I started off with chemotherapy. I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy at Base Hospital in New Plymouth, which the nurses there were lovely. And the oncologist I dealt with through there was very fun. she was lovely. I then had my surgery, and it was discovered that I had precancerous cells in my margins, so I had to go for a second surgery to make sure my margins were clear. And in the initial surgery, I had 9 lymph nodes removed. After that, I went for radiation therapy in Palmerston North, had 20 rounds of radiation, and then a further 12 sessions of, was meant to just be the Herceptin, but ended up being the Cadkyla infusions, due to the precancer cells in my margins.
Right. So, what sort of highs did you have with throughout the whole ordeal, and maybe even the lows, if you wanted to go through those?
I guess the highs would be the amazing support of all my family and friends, everyone being there for me and helping out. As for the lows, there were so many. The uncertainty, the not knowing if the treatment was working or what was going to happen next. It's a real roller coaster.
Yeah. So I suppose we can get away from having like more of the interview now and just have more of a convo about things, you know. So I just wanted to hear from you, you know, like with everything that we went through with the treatments, was there anything that you felt could have been better from the hospitals that we had to deal with, and even your trip to Palmerston North and your stay at what was the name of that place?
Ozanam House.
Ozanam House, yeah. And you know just how that went. So yeah, like were there anything that you found was really good with the treatment you had from the health system in general?
Overall, it was very speedy and very very good. I didn't have many disappointments with it. I mean, yeah, it sucked that got diagnosed 5 days before Christmas, and so there was that long wait to sort of get treatment started.
Yeah.
Especially when they scare you with, you know, it's a aggressive
Yeah.
cancer, and then you're sitting around waiting for information. Good old Google, that scares you.
Yeah, you know, that's why you don't trust Dr. Google so much.
No.
But I've got to say, like the staff, especially at New Plymouth Hospital in the infusion area and all that, you know, the nurses there were lovely.
Yes.
Like oh god, I've forgotten most of their names, and that really sucks. And I'm sorry, ladies. But you know, they were fantastic to deal with. I suppose the hard part for me watching it was you feeling like a pincushion half the time because it took a toll on your veins and your body, and you know, watching the emotional state that you'd be in sometimes was kind of rough. But overall, I think the ladies who were doing all the infusions with the chemotherapy drugs and stuff, they were fantastic. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh no, the ladies, the nurses at base hospital were awesome. Very upbeat, and couldn't say anything like negative about them. They were just great. Even the nurses and that at Palmerston North, while I was having my radiation, they were really good as well. I suppose in that sort of field, you would have to have a certain amount of empathy and everything to help people through these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for the viewers, how long did you have to stay in Palmerston North for?
So I had 20 rounds of radiation, so 1 round per day. So I was down there for a month. I chose to stay down in Palmerston North for the entire month, just so it wouldn't confuse my son. Because yes, with his ADHD and autism, I didn't want him to get confused.
Yeah. So just for everyone at home, we have a 10-year-old autistic son at home. His name's Daniel, and yeah, throughout the whole ordeal, he was emotional to begin with, but he was pretty good for the most part, and yeah, he'd have his questions. I think when we first told him that you were ill, do you remember what his reaction was like to that?
I don't think he fully understood what was going on. I just explained to him that Mummy had a sick boob and needed to have some special medicines.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I think the counselling we got through Kenzie's Gift, the counsellor was really, really good with him. Great organisation too, so yeah.
Yeah, I suppose for me, especially over that month while you were away, he was fantastic, he would help out around home. Emotionally, oh look, it was hard most nights when he'd ask when Mum was coming home. He was a bit gutted because Mum was home, but he understood that Mum was trying to get better, and I had to explain to him every other day, which got a bit taxing. But for the most part, he was really, really good and really, really understanding. I think when he first found out, he was a little bit down in the dumps about it. But yeah, he was so good. And I suppose since the treatments sort of stopped, yeah, he's gone back to being a bit more normal, if there is such a thing with him. But he's basically back to almost being the same boy he was before we told him. So what was your support from the Cancer Society like?
It was pretty good. I suppose living in South Taranaki, there's not a lot out there. Everything's based in New Plymouth, so me accessing any of the supports through the Cancer Society was minimal. I was able to access the Reiki sessions, which were really nice and relaxing, and fitness class with a group through the Cancer Society as well, through Fitzpac here in Hawera.
Yeah. So one thing I've got to give my darling wife credit for was pretty much throughout the whole of her treatments and everything, she worked the whole time through it. Some days she'll come home absolutely shot, and yeah, but it was amazing to see how determined she was to continue working through the treatments. I think doctors even gave you some credit for it. But no, if you can you just give everyone a bit of or your view on how hard it was to sort of soldier on through everything?
At the end of the day, it sort of came down to I was just doing what I needed to do to carry on. If I'd just sat around home, I probably would have ended up just dwelling on what I was going through, and that can lead to a really negative headspace. So going to work or even working from home was a nice little escape. My co-workers were really understanding and supportive, and even my bosses and management, they were all.
So, was there anything you wanted to ask me about any of this?
No. You've always been very open and honest about what you're going through, and when things were getting tough, you sought the help that you needed to get through. So unless you want to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, pretty much a few weeks after we found out that you had your breast cancer, or you got the breast cancer diagnosis, to my employer's credit, so Warren at Ngaruahine Health Service, thank you so much for your support, and even my team leads, Tana and Mark. They were amazing too. So yeah, I think with everything that was going on in our lives in and around that time, even with some of my whānau issues back up north and in Hawke's Bay, everything sort of got all on top of me at once. The breast cancer diagnosis wasn't so much the straw that broke the camel's back, because that came sort of in the middle of everything else. But yeah, I ended up going through anxiety and depression. The things I'd had in the past but never really acknowledged or sought any major help with. But I got to a point where everything sort of got really tough. I suppose, and I think I told you all of it anyway, is I got pretty emotional about, the breast cancer. All sorts of thoughts started going through my head, like what happened if the worst came to the worst and I lost my wife. Having to try and focus on Daniel and thinking about, caring for him solo, which happened for about a month anyway, but that was different. She was coming home, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, so as I said, I got to give Warren and my team leads some credit, or a massive amount of credit. I was put through our EAP, and my counsellor, she was amazing. So Heather, if you actually see this, thank you very much. You're a real big help. And yeah, I'm now medicated for my depression and anxiety. But yeah, it was really hard for me, but you were as supportive as you could be. It was hard trying to get our son to sort of realize what I was going through, but he had his own struggles as well. And I suppose I did try to soldier on through a lot of it, though there were a lot of times there where I faltered. And it is what it is. I'm feeling a lot better about things now. You're doing a lot better, so it's sort of really, it was hard at first, but we've both had each other's backs, and as I said earlier, I've got to give you a ton of credit because you dealt with things really well. You soldiered on through things, so it was really cool. So next question. You talked earlier about the support we've had from your whānau, from your mum and your sisters. How do you feel about things from that end? Because your mum, as you said, she backed us financially for quite a bit there. And if Wendy ever sees this, thank you so much. How do you? Was there anything you wanted to say to the family at all?
Oh, just thank you so much for all the help that you gave. Help with our son, and just being there. It's
No, one place we've forgotten to mention was your place of work, which is Taranaki Byproducts in the Smith Brothers Group. And you said it earlier, your boss, Dean, especially, he was amazing and really supportive, and Drakey was great too. Both our employers gave us so much time off, man, and they were so understanding. Was there anything you wanted to sort of add to the stuff from your employer at all?
No, I think I've already said it all. They were great. They were so supportive and understanding. If things were getting too much, then that it was fine. I could go home. I didn't have to stick the day out. If I wanted to work from home, then I was able to. And they've had my back. And I've worked there now 5.5, almost 6 years.
Yep.
They've always been really, really understanding and really good employers to work for.
Yeah. So as we've said earlier, we're sort of on the tail end of things now with all the treatments, which they stopped February last year. February, March.
Yeah.
That,
February.
Yeah.
And because it was while I was rehearsing for the stage.
That's right. Yep. So that's another thing. Sarah's sort of in between trying to work and do things. She's been going to choir with, what's the name of the group?
The Hawara Theatre Trust Singers.
That's it. And she's also part of the Hawara Repertory Theatre. So, around the time that the treatments ended last February, she was rehearsing for a stage show. What was the name of that show?
Sister Anzac.
That's the one. That they went to stage around Anzac Day last year. And as wiped out as she was throughout those rehearsals and things, and going to stage around Anzac Day, oh my God, she was so naked. But how'd you find doing all that?
Oh yeah, it was exhausting, but it was great to get back to some form of normalcy. I've been doing theatre on and off for I want to say 6 or 8 years, give or take.
About 7.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And so having that forced year and a bit off was a bit disheartening, but it was great to get back to it. And now that I've started with choir as well, joined the Hawara Theatre Trust Singers mid last year. So this year will be my first full year with them. And yeah, just sort of getting my life back, feeling myself again is, it's just getting my energy levels back up again. That's still been a bit difficult. The fatigue is something that seems to be persistent.
Yeah, so I was really glad to have a couple of staff members at work who, one had been through breast cancer herself. I won't say her name out loud. She probably doesn't want to broadcast all over YouTube or Spotify or wherever this ends up streaming. But she went through her own breast cancer battle, and her thoughts were for herself, it took her about 5 years to get her energy levels back up. And even when we discussed it, we're into the second year with it all now, and it's been about a year since the treatments ended. And have you found your energy levels come anywhere near like 25% of where they used to be? Or
no, not quite. I'm still having to have afternoon naps, which is not the sort of person I am, but yeah, definitely still needing the rest.
Yeah. So I know for myself, since this all started, I've had to sort of up my game on helping out around the house. So for those who don't know me, before this all came about, I was teaching Taekwondo. So I'd work all day. Then I think before the diagnosis, I was teaching about 4 days worth of Taekwondo after I'd finished work. Once we got the diagnosis and you started your treatments, I cut it down to about 2 days. Was it 2 days?
Something like that.
Yeah. Cut down to about 2 days, and I was doing 2 classes a night with teaching, which my students and their families were amazing and quite supportive on that end too. But I ended up having to try and help out around home a lot more. Before that, I wasn't as helpful around the house because I was barely home. But I suppose the upside of that has been getting to spend more time at home. And yeah, I know for you it was hard not doing stuff as well. What were your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, as somebody who's always been highly independent and self-sufficient, it was very difficult having to just sit back and relax. But then it was also most days I couldn't physically do anything, especially on that like 3rd, 4th day after chemo, and all the body aches and the discomfort.
Yeah. I know when you first started getting the chemotherapy, you were knocked around so bad, man. It was hard to watch. There were days, and I'm going to be honest with you because I've never actually told you this, but when you'd zonk out, I'd probably sit down and I suppose this was about the time when I first started noticing the anxiety and stuff like that. But, there were days or nights where you didn't see me bawling my eyes out some nights. Whereas there were days where you saw me bawl my eyes out quite frequently. So yeah, I became quite an emotional person. I mean, I've always been emotional, but I used to hide a lot of my emotions from most people. I suppose something that's become annoying to a lot of my staff, a lot of my teammates, is I have become a chronic oversharer. And yeah, I know it annoys you too sometimes. But yeah, no, I even had to watch you going through, the ups and downs with your emotions too, and there were some days it was hard. But I suppose the one upside for the both of us has been Daniel. Plus we got a big fluffy kitty who's been around all the time, and God, if there was ever one person who hogged Mum's attention, geez, it was him. Yeah. You can hear our son in the background. Him and his friend are playing Fortnite at the moment on PlayStation. They're having a sleepover, and it's giving us a bit of time to do this, so it's been a bonus. Yeah, so that being said, with the emotional side of things, what was like, even though I've said a bit about it, what was it like for you emotionally?
It was tough. There's no getting around it. It just had to basically take things one day at a time. I tried not to let it get me down as such, and as somebody who in the past, like yourself, has dealt with anxiety and depression a lot, I was quite surprised in myself that I didn't, whether I didn't allow it or it didn't happen, but I was really scared I was going to get so depressed and so anxious. But I think the majority of it was nervous. Yeah. I was nervous about what was happening. I was nervous about what was going to happen, when things were going to happen, what the outcomes were going to be. Even now, because I have annual mammograms now, because I was only 39 when I found the lump. So too young to be getting the free breast screening. And yeah, even now, I had a mammogram end of last year, and we are now February, and I still haven't had the results. But I have a phone appointment with my oncologist on Monday, so hopefully I'll get my results. Can only say no news is good news. If there was something to worry about, they would have contacted me sooner. And it is something that is always in the back of my mind, it is a type of cancer that could come back. Because it is hormone related. The treatment has thrown me into early menopause, but because of my age, because I am only 42 now, 42 this year. Yeah, 42 this year. Yeah. Next month. I could, the menopause could go away and then have to go through it again, which, yay. not. No.
Not fun.
No.
No.
It's bad enough. Even now, I'm...
So, the surgery you had, what was it? More of a lumpectomy instead of the mastectomy, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was breast conserving surgery.
Yeah.
So they just removed the tissue and a bit of the tissue around where the tumour was.
As well as the 9 lymph nodes.
Yes. Well, there was the cancer cells found in one lymph node.
Yeah.
But because the little tag that they put in that lymph node disappeared, my initial surgery took a lot longer than expected, because they had to, each node they removed, they had to ultrasound to see if they'd got the correct node out. So 9 nodes later.
So, I suppose now, how are things going for yourself? I mean, I know that, yeah, as we've already talked about, the energy levels still aren't anywhere near what they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're having to have the mammograms yearly. Mood-wise, for yourself, how are you feeling? Better about things, mostly? Mostly
better, yeah.
Yeah.
Still the ups and downs, but at the same time, life. Life is all up and down. And yeah, there's the medication, having to be on meds for the next, well, at my last oncology appointment, they had said that if there's no reoccurrence and I'm reacting well to treatment, to the medication, then I may only have to be on it for 5 years rather than 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all just a guessing game again.
So, for anyone who's going through breast cancer, I am going to be chucking some links to a few services, especially in and around Taranaki. One being the Cancer Society. But I suppose, would you have any sort of advice for any ladies, even men get it too?
Mm-hmm.
Don't think we don't, guys. I actually met a gentleman a little while ago who had breast cancer, and I was amazed by that, and he had to have surgery on both his pectorals. But yeah, is there any advice you'd give to anyone who think they might have it?
Anything abnormal, go get it checked out. Like, it doesn't matter if it's nothing. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. So even for us guys, we wash our chests just like everybody else does, or we should be. We should be. But yeah, you know, it's not filling yourself up if you're worried about that sort of thought. You know, have a good check around your chest. Even I do it, because I suppose everyone as an individual knows what their body should feel like normally. So if you do feel anything abnormal, consult your GP about it. And yeah, I suppose, because it is getting a bit late, especially for our 2 young guys that are here with us, I wanted to thank you, Sarah, for sharing with everyone. as I said, this is our very first interview we've ever done. I suppose for my darling wife across the table from me now, she's nervous as heck. Even this being my first interview, I'm nervous as heck. We actually had to sort of cut a couple of times just because we're nervous. But these kōrero that we're having on this channel are going to be as raw as possible. I don't like scripts. I'd rather people show genuine emotion, if any, on here. And again, thank you, Sarah, for doing this, being my guinea pig, so to speak.
You're welcome.
Oh. But no, look, thank you everybody for joining Taranaki Health Journeys podcast. I hope to be doing interviews with a few health professionals and people going on their health journeys. If you would be interested in sitting down and doing an interview with me, either on Zoom, Skype, whatever, please shoot me on an email at taranakihsp@gmail.com, or leave me a comment in the comment section of these videos. And please remember to drop a like, subscribe, and ask to be notified if you're watching this on YouTube. And even I think on some of the streaming and podcast platforms, you can actually do something on those tabs too. If you have any words of encouragement for any of the guests that do come on here, please feel free to share them. Try and keep it positive, people, because everyone's journey is different. And I hope to see you guys back on here very soon. Thank you very much, and ka kite anō.